Welcome to Infinity News. Hit subscribe, like, and drop a comment below.
We've got quite a story today, diving into some material detailing a very public, very intense dispute.
That's right. We're talking about the recent falling out between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It's really captured a lot of attention.
Yeah, and the sources we've looked at, they lay out how this whole thing seemingly started, how people are reacting, and, what it might all mean.
Exactly. Our goal here is to unpack what this material tells us. What kicked it off? What are the different sides saying? Are there bigger implications?
Because this isn't just like a private argument, is it? It's playing out for everyone to see and sparking a lot of commentary.
Okay, so let's get into it. What seems to be the initial spark, according to the details we have?
Well, it looks like things escalated very quickly this past week. The material points to a specific policy disagreement, kind of lighting the fuse.
The budget bill comment. Musk apparently called it a pork-filled abomination. Pretty strong words.
Definitely. And that seems to be what triggered a, shall we say, very public response from Trump.
Strong is one word for it. The material quotes Trump directly accusing Musk of having lost his mind, saying he's totally lost it. Even calling him the poor guy. Got a problem.
Yeah, and what's interesting is how he reportedly voiced this, not just one statement.
Right. The accounts say he was venting over the phone to journalists from, all the major networks, ABC, Fox, CNN, CBS.
Which itself is notable, isn't it? The kind of widespread, almost deliberate airing of grievances.
So that's the trigger. Policy comment leads to personal insults, leads to public venting, but the reactions, that's where it gets really fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. Within certain circles, particularly what some call MAGA world, the material describes a sense of almost disbelief, like they're struggling to accept this breakup.
Yeah, you see quotes hoping they come back together, calling them extraordinary men. Even a senator quoting his wife saying the disagreement must end.
And Senator Mike Lee pleading publicly on social media, right? Sharing that Photoshop picture, talking about the Trump-Musk bromance.
Almost like begging them to reconcile, based on these reports. Very public pleas.
But then you have others, some Trump allies and media figures who seem to be firmly siding with Trump.
And they're focusing their criticism on Musk's actions after the initial spat, aren't they?
Exactly. Particularly that comment Musk made about the Epstein files. The material highlights people calling that way over the top, crazy recklessness.
But Epstein comment really seemed to cross the line for some observers mentioned here.
It did. And then there's this attempt, detailed in the material, to frame Trump's own response as somehow measured.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Like when Elon goes low, Trump goes high.
But the material kind of pushes back on that narrative, doesn't it? It points to the widespread venting. And crucially, that threat Trump made on social media.
The threat to end billions of dollars in federal contracts with Musk's companies.
Right. Which, commentators in the material interpret in different ways. Is it admitting the contracts were pork or cronyism, or is it just vengeance? Either way, not exactly going high.
Doesn't sound like restraint, no. So speaking of Musk's actions after the split, he made some big moves himself, according to these reports.
He did. He floated the idea of a new political party to represent the 80% in the middle, based on a social media poll result, apparently.
Called it Fate and suggested the America Party. That's quite a pivot.
A very quick pivot. And then came that really explosive tweet, the one making the specific accusation about Trump and the Epstein files.
Claiming Trump is in the files and that's why they aren't public. Wow, and the reactions to that were intense based on what you're seeing.
Yeah, one report describes a former official, Kash Patel, being told about the tweet mid-interview and just refusing to engage. Wanted nothing to do with the Trump-Elon thing.
Shows how toxic that specific claim was seen, right?
Definitely. And another commentator reportedly suggested Musk was off the deep end. Someone should take away your phone. Just shock, really.
And it didn't stop there. The material mentions Musk tweeting slurs at Steve Bannon.
Which led to Bannon firing back, accusing Musk of being in the U.S. illegally, lying on visas, and calling for his deportation.
Deportation. So it went from policy spats to calls for deportation. The escalation is remarkable.
Truly. And then you have figures watching from the sidelines, like Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Right. The material notes she'd previously criticized the bromance pretty harshly. Called Musk unintelligent.
So her reaction to the feud, as reported, was maybe predictable, but still pointed. That quote.
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? Delivered apparently with quite a bit of snark.
The reports say she seemed almost smug, like I told you so. Mentioned the two huge egos and said it was a long time coming.
And she brought up potential real-world consequences too, didn't she? Watching for legislative impacts.
Exactly, which ties back directly to that threat about federal contracts.
Yeah.
So people are seeing potential tangible fallout, not just Twitter drama.
Okay, so wrapping this up, we've seen the spark policy, insults, venting, then the reactions pleas for unity, harsh criticism, the Epstein claim fallout, calls for deportation.
And the potential real-world implications, like those massive federal contracts being threatened or legislative maneuvering. It shows how personal dynamics between powerful figures can really ripple outwards.
It absolutely does. It leaves you thinking, given these intense reactions we've seen detailed here, from wanting the bromance back to calling someone crazy or demanding deportation, what does this whole episode reveal about the underlying expectations and maybe fragility within these political alliances when they break down so publicly?
That's the question, isn't it? What it says about the current landscape when things unravel this fast and this furiously.
Lots to consider there. Thanks for tuning in to Infinity News. Don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and let us know your thoughts in the comments.